I became homeless after I got out of the army and decided to walk across America. Alone and unsupported, I trekked from Tennessee to Delaware, to California, to Florida, to Alaska, back to Florida, and back to California again. Feel free to ask me anything. How did you plan your route? How did you use the bathroom / wash up / brush your teeth? What did you eat? What about extreme weather? How did you pass the time mentally / emotionally? I never made any strict plans for my route. I just kind of went wherever looked the most inviting. I tried to base my route off of the weather and water supply more than anything. I just knew I wanted to travel in a general direction. I used the bathroom like everyone else lol, except for the fact that a lot of the times I had to go outside. I actually prefer using the bathroom outside, though. Bathrooms are gross lol. How did I brush my teeth? I carried a toothbrush and toothpaste. Or made activated charcoal if I had to. I ate whatever I could find that I thought had a low risk of killing me or making me sick. I did a lot of hunting, trapping, fishing, foraging, dumpster diving, and sometimes people stopped to give me food. A girl took me out to eat while I was in Alaska. Some guys in Sacramento, California invited me over for dinner and made me cook. What about extreme weather? I dealt with it the best I could. I tried to keep an eye on the weather, but every now and then I would end up in the shit. I preferred the cold over the heat, which a lot of people thought I was crazy for. I would rather get caught up in a blizzard than a drought or tornado. How did I pass the time? I was always preoccupied with what was going on around me. Although I did feel kind of bored while making my way through Texas. It was so long, flat, and empty. But I guess even then I was kind of sidetracked by thinking about where I was going to end my night, where my next water supply would be, or just keeping an eye on my surroundings. A couple of girls decided they wanted to stop and get a picture with me as I was making my way through Texas. What was the weirdest thing anyone ever told you? I was passing through eastern Texas one winter when an older man pulled over behind me. I turned to see him walking up to me, and kind of struggling to do so, so I walked up to him. I made it to him just as he had made it to the trunk of his car. He then placed his hand on my shoulder and asked, "What's your favorite pie?" I gave him a confused look and laughed, pecan, I guess. Why? The old man then lifted his finger and said, "God told me you were going to say that." He then opened the trunk of his car and pointed inside. When I leaned over to look, there was a pecan pie sitting there. For the record, I ate the pie and it was delicious lol. Probably the weirdest conversation I've ever had in my life. What is your favorite place you've been? It's difficult for me to pick only one favorite place, but I can give you a pretty short list. 1. Denali National Park, Alaska. 2. Redwood State Forest, Northern California. 3. Coconino National Forest, Arizona. 4. Bridger Teton National Forest, Wyoming. 5. Olympic National Park, Washington. What is the strangest thing you saw? I saw a lot of strange things, but you want to know, honestly? Okay. I'm going to tell you lol, but if you have a weak stomach or get easily offended, just stop reading. So, the strangest thing I saw while traveling the country was not one thing, but many. The highways and backroads of America are littered with covered and I'm not even trying to be funny. I'm serious. And it's weird. But kind of funny lol. Were you ever in danger? Seems like every day I had a close call with something, whether it was almost getting hit by a car, struck by lightning, running out of water, or getting caught up in a blizzard. I never met my fate, obviously, but I did have a lot of close calls. Which state was the most helpful? I mean, were there many people that tried to help you in the states you mentioned? I ran into nice people everywhere I went. Don't get me wrong lol. I ran into a lot of a-holes too, but I mostly ran into good people. I can't really think of any particular place that was friendlier than the rest. I will say, however, that I had far more positive encounters on the east side of the country than on the west side. What did you do other than walking? Like, where did you stay? What did you do for fun? I studied up on plants in the areas I was passing through. It kept me occupied and supplied me with food and medicine. Sometimes, life itself was enough to keep me busy. I was always having to fix something, find my way around obstacles, dodging traffic, checking maps, looking for water, talking to strangers, trying to get lost, etc. I slept in my tent 98% of the time, just kind of plopped down wherever was hidden. What are you doing now that this adventure is over, and are you as satisfied in your current life as you were then? I'm not really doing anything at the moment. I took up photography for about a year, but I couldn't afford to continue doing that and just recently sold all of my gear. Next on my agenda is to try and sell enough copies of my book to get my car paid off so I can finally focus on getting myself some land. I'll probably be setting up book signings all over the country soon. I finished my walk during the summer of 2016, so a lot has happened since then. Did you have any paranormal experiences? Weird creatures in the forests, things that shouldn't be there, people talking to you and then just disappearing, strange lights in the sky, etc. I woke one morning after a long night of it raining and there was a dry patch in front of my tent. That happened somewhere in the mountains of Pennsylvania. I saw some strange lights over Carson City, Nevada. I saw some strange metallic balls hovering in the sky near Pescadero, California. I was camping underneath a bridge near Guinda, California, and a lot of rocks were being thrown around, although I never saw or heard anyone. Tell us about any wild animal encounters that you had. Any close calls? Oh yeah, I had several encounters with wild animals. The one that still raises the hairs on my arms to this day is my run-in with a grizzly bear in Alaska. I was about a 3-day hike from the road and into Denali National Park. I had been staying in higher elevations and trying to avoid the densely forested areas most of the time, but everything that goes up must come down. I hiked down the mountain to a river to fill up my water. When I went to pull out my canteen, the elastic strap popped against my pack. I instantly heard the water thrashing from around the bend, and when I looked up, a grizzly was charging in my direction. I immediately grabbed my pack and made my way up the bank. As soon as I turned around, the grizzly was just a few feet away and coming up the bank behind me. I took the opportunity and sprayed it directly in the face with my bear spray, which made it back off a bit. It kept trying to come up the bank and after me, though, and each time I would spray it in the face. Thankfully, just after I ran out of bear spray, it finally decided it had had enough and left. Although it was over, I still had a 3-day hike back to the road without any bear spray, which is not a nice feeling in an area like that. When will this movie be made? Don't know. I wrote a book about my travels and have included all of the pictures. Just waiting for the right person to get a hold of it. Would be cool to see it played out. I wouldn't even care if they twisted it. I'd still get a kick out of it. Were you ever assaulted or robbed? I was assaulted and robbed. I was assaulted once in Santa Cruz, California, where I was attacked by 2 men who just had it out for homeless people. I had my things stolen when I was near Anchorage, Alaska. But I caught the people in the act and was able to get everything back. Only 2 scenarios like that in 3 years, though. Pretty good record, I guess. How many pairs of shoes did you go through during the cross country? I started out with a pair of Vans and went through those in about 2 months. I then coughed up a chunk change to get some Salomon boots, which lasted about a year. They actually had some tread left, but I knew they wouldn't last much longer, so I donated those and got another pair. That pair lasted just as long. The last year I spent traveling, I wore a pair of Merrells. There was hardly anything left of those by the time it was all said and done. So, 2 pairs of shoes, 2 pairs of boots, and 1 pair of flip-flops. Thank you for listening to another B-Town Reddit Stories episode. Hit the subscribe button and check out our channel for more stories. Let us know your opinion about this topic in the comments.